people figure out where their blocks are, and I can give them tools specifically for them to remove those blocks. But in order to do that, it's hard. It's a lot of work. And I'm going to tell you right now, it was a lot of dark places that I went. It was a lot of crying. It was a lot of releasing anger and resentment that I had towards other people that I knew were never going to apologize for the things that they did. So the first thing I had to do was let go of wanting an apology from them, because I was never going to get it. If I needed that for closure, I would be chasing that forever. So I had to find peace with that. So for me, it's, what are you doing? What do you want? And how do you get there? Those are the top three questions that I would say. If you are not achieving what you want to achieve in any area of your life, whether it's your physical appearance, your relationships, your career, it doesn't even matter. You need to stop and need to ask yourself those three questions. And once you ask yourself those questions, you need to be honest with the answers, because you can't fix what you don't admit. And if you sugarcoat everything, you're not going to fix it. You're going to keep getting the same results. And the universe is going to keep sending you these people as lessons until you get sick of it. And that's kind of where I got. Like, I just got tired of people using me all across the board. It wasn't just in relationships, romantic relationships. It was friendships. It was family. It was romantic relationships. It was everywhere. It was jobs. Like, I gave more to everybody than they deserved. So I really had to look at why I was doing that. And it was hard and it was painful, but fear is what keeps a lot of people from doing that, because it's easier. It's the devil you know versus the devil you don't, right? So you know that you're miserable and you know you don't like what's going on, but that's your comfort area. And you don't know what's on the other side of that. And the other side on that, your brain is telling you, oh, that's going to be worse. Why do you even want to try that? That's going to be way worse. But if you take a minute and you sit in it and you figure it out and you deal with it, and then you give those emotions a little hug and then send them on their way, you get to the other side. And I'm going to tell you, the other side is way better than staying stuck. It's scary. It's kind of like going through a haunted house. You know, the lead up to it is real. Your anxiety is going and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to think about this. And then you go through it and you're kind of scared for a little while. And then you get done and you look back on it and you're like, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's exactly like that.
Why do you think so many people struggle with saying that I am part of the problem in my situation and there's things I need to fix?
Because none of us want to admit that we're the problem. We always want to say that it is somebody else. Playing victim is way easier than taking responsibility every time. Every time. But you also can't grow if you don't. So if you want to stay where you are, keep doing the same things that you're doing. If you want to move forward and you want something better, you have to grow. And growing is painful. I mean, so like I said, I have two kids. So when my kids, my youngest is 9, my oldest is 19, first and second marriage. But my youngest, like, she's going through a lot of growth spurts right now because she's 9. And so she has a lot of muscle pain and she has a lot of exhaustion. And she's like, so she has all of these things that are showing that she's growing that are painful, that she has to go through, because that's how your body grows. But when she gets to the other side of that, she's not going to remember any of this. She's just going to be happy that she's a couple inches taller and she can sit in the front seat. But most people don't want to do that. They'd rather just be uncomfortable
I had
in
someone,
where they are.
yeah, I had someone, she was telling me, what did she tell me? She said, we're talking about dating and things of this nature. She was divorced and she has one kid, and I guess there's an estranged relationship with that child. And she messaged me. She was asking me for like just a little bit of advice. We started talking, and she said, "I asked her, okay, so what do you think the problem is that you can't find the type of guy that you want?" And she and we're just texting, and she sent me a text. She's like, Terrain, the reason why I can't get the guy that I want is because I am too good looking. I was like, oh, okay, that's a unique problem to have. I was like, that's unfortunate. She's like, yes, it is. I was like, do me a favor. She's like, what? Send me a picture. You're sexy. You're so gorgeous. You can't get the man that you want. It's like, well, I was like, no. You said that the reason why you can't get the man that you want is because you're too attractive. So in my mind, I'm thinking, because I know what she looks like, but in my mind, I'm thinking like you think you're model type level, right? Like you think you're, I'm going to age myself here. You think you're like Beyonce and Angelina Jolie and all these other people, Jennifer Aniston, right? Like you think as soon as you walk into whatever building you walk into, guys are taking off their wedding rings and trying to be with you, right? So it's like, well, I was like, that's what you mean. I was like, here's the problem when it comes to dating that a lot of people don't admit. This is something that Dana touched on, is that if you can't find the type of guy or girl that you want, the problem is da, 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 you. You are the problem. It is not them. And here's why. People get married every single day. You don't. So is it really them or is it you? What I did in my 20s after I realized that I need to make a lot of changes, I stood in front of the mirror. And this is what I tell some of the women I work with. And I said, and I had an honest conversation with myself. And I said, these are the things I don't like about myself. These are the things I like about myself. These are the things that's preventing me from getting what I want because this is what I want. What I ultimately wanted, which is what I would argue most people want, is I want to spend my life until the twilight of my life with someone that I love and someone that's going to support me. Right. And I was getting in my own way of that. So I had to make changes in my life. It wasn't that my hair was whatever, I got the beard or it wasn't any of that superficial stuff. It was the person that I am.